Nothing pisses people off more than when I review a kid's movie. So in that spirit, let's talk about Mufasa. I went to the 2 o'clock showing at my local theater. I saw it in IMAX, and I also saw it in 3D, so you didn't have to. And trust me when I tell you this, you don't have to. The 3D adds nothing and doesn't really help it. I don't plan on spoiling it, but I just be talking. So here's your warning, I guess. Directed by Barry Jenkins with the voice talents of Aaron Pierre, Kevin Harrison Jr., Mads Mikkelsen, and a whole bunch of other people. This is the prequel to the 2019 film directed by Jon Favreau. You know, these are the live-action CGI photorealistic remakes of the original 1994 film. That original 1994 film is a certified masterpiece. Fun fact about the history of that movie, it almost didn't get made. Little arguments about it, like who was going to want to watch a movie about lions? That was literally the thought. Highly recommend watching Waking Sleeping Beauty. I believe it's on Disney+. It is the documentary about the Disney Renaissance, which is the period of Disney films that were released in a 10-year period between 1989 and 1999. So from The Little Mermaid to Tarzan. There's something about that period of Disney. It was a resurgence, if you will, because Disney was going downhill. The animation studio was just not doing well financially. And there was something about that time period that was just absolute magic. And Disney, for the last several years, they've been trying to recreate that magic, and it just hasn't been happening. Now, the 2019 film was a billion-dollar film, correct? However, the reception did not match that number. People came away from it not liking it. And a part of that was the CGI and the way the animals looked. It was kind of soulless. Well, it seems they, read the room and listened to the people, and we get more facial expressions from these lions. They smile more. They're doing more things with their eyes. It feels closer to something that is animated instead of trying to recreate live action and trying to put emotion behind it. It just doesn't work. But this, I think, worked a little bit better. The CGI it's whatever. Honestly, can I be real? This movie is facing an uphill battle because, number one, the predecessor is a billion-dollar film, but it wasn't well received, not critically and not by audiences. And number two, nobody asked for this. The magic that is the 1994 original film, you can't recreate that. As much as Disney is trying to recreate it, it can't be done. Not even for these new audiences that, they didn't see the original film in theaters like many of us did. Like, I remember trailers for The Lion King in theaters. I remember that. But this film right here, 2024 Mufasa, doesn't need to be better or as good as that 1994 animated film. This needs to be as good as or better than the 2019 remake. Is it? I don't think so. 20 years ago, this would have been direct-to-video, but in 2024, they should have just put this on Disney Plus and called it a day. And part of the problem here is the animation. Yeah, they improved a little bit when they decided, hey, let's give these animals facial expressions. And it's gorgeous on its own, but it's still just kind of soulless. Like, it's so empty. There's something in the narrative, in the story, that's just lacking in creativity, which is crazy because it's Barry Jenkins, who was an absolute visionary. I love Barry Jenkins, and I don't think this serves him well at all. The best part of the movie for me was the fact that we only heard from Beyonce like 2.5 times. She's not a good voice actor. I don't care. Everything about this movie was unnecessary, so it makes me wonder, what is this for? Who is this for? Is this for audiences, or is this a vehicle for Blue Ivy? Beyonce's daughter, Blue Ivy Carter, is Kiara, the voice of Kiara in this movie. Now, on to the music. So the original score for this movie, composed by Dave Metzger, I believe is his name, gets drowned out a bit by all the extra noise, but the original score from the 1994 film, composed by Hans Zimmer, stands out. You can't miss it. So you have, Under the Stars, King of Pride Rock, To Die For. It all stands out. So the original score is not memorable. We can move on from that. Speaking of not memorable, now, one of the biggest complaints about Moana 2 was the music. The fact that you could tell Lin-Manuel Miranda did not write the lyrics. That was the least of my problems with that movie. But here you have Lin-Manuel Miranda creating original songs for this movie, a lot of original songs, and only one of those songs made it to the Oscars shortlist for Best Original Song. What does that mean? That means that Disney could potentially get 2 Oscar nominations out of this movie. Visual effects, I don't see why not. And then Best Original Song, I don't see that happening. I said this about The Little Mermaid, and I'm going to say it here. What's memorable about the music in this movie is the same music that we've been hearing for the last 30 plus years. The original music in this movie, you're not going to remember it. It doesn't stand out. It's actually kind of boring. And before you argue with me, how many original songs from the 2023 Little Mermaid remake are you playing on repeat? The villain song in this movie made me want to punch somebody in the face. Like, literally says, I'm the last face you see before you go bye-bye. But Savannah, it's a kid's movie. Be prepared. Poor unfortunate souls. That one song from Pocahontas. Don't play in my face. It's an absolute joke of a song. I'm going to be angry about it until I feed myself. There's nothing much else to say here. It's a mid, unnecessary, lacking in creativity prequel that nobody asked for with songs you're not going to remember past Christmas that should have just gone straight to Disney Plus. But Savvy, what do I take my kids to see over Christmas? Look, I can't tell you what to do, but I'm going to see Sonic 3 tomorrow. I'll let you know how that goes.